Hey guys, kinggath here with another patch for Sim Settlements 2. This is patch 3.0.4, which I'm calling a Fistful of Fixes. And yes, that is a Clint Eastwood reference. Just came off of a charity event that had a lot of old movie trivia, so it's on the brain. And I think it accurately describes this patch, which is just a handful of fixes for the Workshop Framework and SS2. And that is due to timing of two trips that I had this fall. One I just came off of, another I'm about to go on, and so I had very limited time during this last couple of weeks, and that is also why these patches have been on Tuesdays. Just happens to be when it lines up with my travel dates. Now the next patch probably also going to be a Tuesday because of the Thanksgiving holiday that week. That is normally going to be a patch week, but trying to put out a patch on Thanksgiving weekend is going to be a big challenge. So instead, going to do it right before. Now that next patch right before Thanksgiving might be our first major patch, but if not, it will be a hopefully a significant amount of bug fixes for you guys, more than this particular patch, because I know we've got quite a pile that have been verified now. So don't worry, I'm aware of a lot of your guys' issues, and we're going to get more and more of those fixed. In fact, we're going to go over a few today, and then just always check the full patch notes on the wiki to see if your particular issue was resolved yet. But of course, before we get into the patch note specifics, we've got to thank our patrons. You guys are making sure that us on the dev team aren't digging into our pockets while we continue to work on this mod. It's going to be, I swear, we're not going to be done in 10 years. It's going to be a 10-year project to get all of Sim Settlements done at the end of the day, and I'm okay with that. I love having a long-term project, and the patrons make it even more fun because it's crazy to see so many people who are passionate enough about this project to throw a few bucks at it. So a huge shout out and thanks to Esme, Rasmus, oh, this is my butcher of the week, Wallstrom, is that right? Sorry, Rasmus, if I just butchered your first and or last name. Bill Kerwin, Corey Meggs, Jacob Allen, Luana Caswell, and Michael. Thank you guys all, and thank you everybody else who's contributed in other ways, or if you signed up recently and I didn't shout you out, I will get to you in another video, though it might be a little bit delayed as, again, traveling this next week. So let's get into the patch notes. So first up, let's talk about Workshop Framework. There had been a bug in Workshop Framework that could cause some enemies to show invisible during assaults, which would make it very difficult to kill them. In fact, for some players, it was making it impossible, and so they would have assaults that were getting stuck at some locations. That should be resolved now. And another one tangential to that is probably related to Workshop Framework. We're not exactly sure, but some of you have been reporting that the SS2 menu isn't showing up in Workshop mode, and obviously that would make it impossible to complete many of our early quests. As far as we can tell, it seems to be an issue with certain versions of Workshop Framework being served by Nexus, so it's likely that it's some sort of data corruption in one of their servers. We're not sure why, but the updated version should no longer be suffering from that, presumably, but if any of you continue to suffer that after updating this version, definitely do report it on the forums. I will make sure that everybody is on high alert for more reports of that after this patch, so I can try and get to the bottom of it. We're not exactly sure how it happened or what caused it, but I do want to try and get that resolved before I disappear on my trip, so definitely report that right away after you update to today's version of Workshop Framework if you're still suffering from the no SS2 menu. All right, some SS2 bugs worth noting. I think one of the biggest things we've been receiving reports of that is a little bit heartbreaking for me is Jake not appearing for some players when they install SS2 for the first time. Now, we've found a variety of issues with that, and I've started to resolve some of them. We've found some conflicts with startup with SS2, and we've now got a bunch of fallback options where the mod can start itself up again. And then the latest one we've discovered is that for some folks, what actually is happening is that Jake is not making it to the settlement. He's hanging out outside. Starlight is a big cause of this because the actual spawn point for NPCs is actually way outside of the settlement, and then for some people Jake is not making his way back in. So we've redone his AI packages again to try and resolve that. And I also went through and modified the change main quest settlement tool, which if you're not familiar with that, when you go into the City Manager holotape and you go under Tools and then Advanced, there's one called Change Main Quest Settlement. And this is designed specifically for people in the very early parts of SS2 who are having trouble with Jake showing up, or who had him show up in a settlement they don't want him to show up in, because a lot of the early quests that came out in Chapter 1 use a particular settlement as their base, and it tends to be the first one you built a beacon in after installing SS2. But if you installed SS2 on an existing save, that can end up at any of your random settlements that already had a beacon. So this tool was originally designed for you to change your mind, but it has since become a recovery option for people who are not finding Jake showing up. And I made some modifications to it because one of the issues some people were seeing with it is they would activate it and they were never given the settlement select menu. So there's still a way that that can happen. And if you get that to happen where it doesn't give you the menu, that means you probably don't control any settlements yet, but it should now no longer fail to show you that menu if you do control settlements. And the reason that was happening is because occasionally some people were running the tool before SS2 had finished initializing, and so SS2 hadn't even detected that you had any recruitment beacons. So now it will allow you to basically set the main quest settlement before you've even built a beacon, and then if you just sleep, Jake will immediately show up. Should happen whether or not you even have a beacon. So there should be a way now to force him to show up when you're ready with the City Manager holotape, even without a beacon. Now, I don't know how many people have tested this. I always consider myself a test case of one to be untrusted, so I tested it worked, but we'll wait and see from you guys. I don't know if we had any testers able to verify this because none of them were having the problem. I did have a save someone sent me that did have the problem, and this seemed to have resolved it. So hopefully it resolved it for more of you guys. That is definitely a high priority issue for me. So if any of you guys are finding that when you launch the game with SS2, you're just not able to get it to start, definitely keep those reports coming. I want to work out that issue. That's obviously a huge deal breaker, and we need to get those sorted out. Another high priority issue that I believe is now resolved is marketplace trading. A lot of people have been reporting that they're not actually getting the resources, and that should be resolved now. You should start to see that daily income coming in. Another one that I mentioned in the last patch video is the territories, that some of them, the workshop mode in it wasn't functioning. That should also be resolved in this particular patch. So definitely go read the full patch notes. Lots of little things got fixed and lots more will be fixed soon. I've got a ton of new verified reports in the last couple of weeks to work on. So I anticipate another deep dive on bug fixing patch coming up in the next month or two. So again, keep those reports coming. We definitely want to get all these issues worked out. All right, I think that wraps it up for the patch notes. So those of you guys who stuck around to the end to listen to me ramble, you guys know the drill. We're going to give away some merch. So if you are interested in scoring some settlements merchandise, just leave a comment below. I'm going to give you a hashtag and include that hashtag with the comment. Make sure you have something else in the comments so I have something interesting to read. Tell me a bug report in there. Tell me a funny story about SS2. Tell me something you like about it, something you hate about it, whatever. Just something interesting to read, and include the hashtag Eastwood, because we're going to just lean all in on that today. All right, guys, take care and enjoy the mods.